Hello, Michael Knight. Good morning. How the heck are you?
Are we on?
Uh, Seems like it.
It seems like it. It's a freaky, fractious Friday in the America that we have inherited. An America that 4 weeks ago was so grim that we thought Donald Trump is going to be our president and we're all going to have to move to Europe. I was figuring out how I was ever going to master French while living in the south of France,
I was
or
thinking,
Italian while living in the north of Italy.
yeah, I was looking at this thing going, let's see, if I go to Reggio Calabria, um, can I set this thing up that it will find Michael and we could do a show? He's in France, I'm in Italy. We'll get somebody that's in Slovakia close by, and we got a show.
Spokane, by the way, is part of the NBA expansion. They've skipped Seattle. They're just going to
I,
Spokane.
See. I don't believe those rumors, Michael. I'm sorry.
Nope,
I
they're
don't.
skipping Seattle. Spokane put in the better bid.
I don't think that Slovakia has a chance to get in the team until 66A is done.
They said they're going to finish it within 2 weeks. It's a Donald Trump plan.
I don't believe it. I want to see it before I sign a paper that says I'm giving Slovakia the the an NBA franchise to be known as the Slovakia Sputniks. I don't.
But
I'm just not.
if,
I'm
if
not there with
66 if 66A were finished today, would you endorse the Spokane team, the Sputniks?
it. They would have to show me a plan that would somehow deposit $1 million a year in my pocket.
The general manager is going to be Scott Service.
Well, he's got time. He
He's got
has
time.
got
He's
video
got time to
time.
do it. He says he's going to do it right this time.
Yeah, well, they all say that, and actually, sometimes some succeed at that. Look at Bob Melvin. I mean, people. I don't think people forget, but many people uh, sweep that little part of Bob Melvin's career under the carpet. But his first managerial job was up here, and he's not that good when he was up here. I thought he was okay, but he was definitely learning on the job.
Well, Mr. Wilson will do the same, it appears.
Yeah, let's jump into that a little bit. For those of you who may not know, the Mariners finally did what they probably should have done earlier in the year, and maybe even in the off season.
Yeah.
It was no way that you could have a team that went 1-7, 1-8 on a road trip, and come back and have the respect of anybody if you didn't fire the guy. I'm sorry. So when they got back the team off of the multi-city road trip, they relieved Scott Service of his duties. I
And
always feel
he
bad when
said,
somebody gets fired, but
why now? He wanted to know. We've been losing all along. Well, what about these losses were so dramatic that you had to make a change?
well, we wanted to. I mean, I gotta think that at some point you just don't. If you keep going the way you're going, you have a lot of young players on this club. You take a chance of ruining the players that you have.
Yes,
Got
you
to be
do.
some. The manager can't expect accountability if the manager is not accountable himself. And I know a lot of people say, "Well, he doesn't hit the ball, he doesn't throw the ball." Yeah, but when your stated goal is to come out of training camp striking out less, and you're striking out more, and your hitters look undisciplined at the plate,
And
you're
nobody seems to care or take it personally.
yeah, your base running is atrocious. You sit back and you wait for uh, a fastball to come barreling down the center of the plate, and then you hope you can hit it.
Some of those
Yeah,
fastballs can hit themselves. It's been known to happen. You don't even have to swing. They hit themselves.
yeah, you can't. People were getting sick of it. Now, it kind of went away a little bit because the Mets came to town last week or two, or now 2 weeks ago, and they swept the Mets. Which, in retrospect, I'm scratching my head, going, "How the heck did they do that?" But they did, and it bought maybe it bought Scott another road trip, another weekend. But when you came out of the box and they just looked so bad,
Lifeless.
I mean, they were 13 games up at one point a month ago.
So, what do you think the conversation was like when they said, we need a new manager? What qualities do we want in the manager? Quality number one and quality number two and quality number three are all the same. He's got to be sort of a Seattle guy. He's got to be somebody we don't have to worry about talking to the press after the game and saying anything outrageous. He's got
Right.
to be friendly to everybody. He's got to be part of the hot dog drop in the seventh inning. He's got to be calm, collected. He never butt in line, won't say anything untoward in the grocery store. A Seattle guy. That's the
He,
first thing we need. We don't want him yelling at the players.
he's got to be a fan favorite because we don't want to take the heat. We want somebody who's, you're exactly right, who's not going to come in here and write a letter saying, I need another hitter, or I need this, or I need that, or I need anything. And that's why I think that the Dan Wilson move may be just temporary. Um, I, I don't, there's a piece of me that says, well, if you're this close and you still have a chance to get in the wild card, why don't you bring Dusty Baker in for and see if he'll do it for the rest of the year, or bring somebody in, um, because I don't know if Dan Wilson figures in their long term plans. He's a scout in the organization. There are some people who thought that he might be ready to manage, but there was also a lot of talk that, up until a couple of months ago, he might not have been interested in it.
So he's a placeholder for the rest of
Right
the
now, I
season.
would say he's a placeholder. Now, that could change. He could get down there and he could like it, and he could, I mean, it would be kind of fun to see them assemble the old school, the old guys all back together. You know, um, you bring Moyer in as a pitching coach. You have Danny as the manager, and Buhner is the third base coach. But I also think that that this team needs to start winning. So as much as you want to play, early '60s Mets, where you just bring in, old Brooklyn Dodgers to coach and to play and to do whatever you can do. The reality is you got to get you got to get a winning season, not just a winning season. You have to get ball players who are going to learn off of people.
And up here, you got to have a winning team. When you take the
Yeah,
field, you're going to win.
got to yeah, you got to have a winning attitude. And I really hope, because I love Dan Wilson, man. He's one of the most decent human beings I've ever met. He's he's I mean, he's the kind of guy that everybody wants for a son. I mean,
Maybe Mother Teresa, if she were available, she'd be willing to manage the team in terms of wholesomeness.
oh, she's not. I think she's involved in a soccer team somewhere. So
Girls field hockey.
I'm hoping that Dan, comes in and bangs the garbage cans around a little bit. Maybe brings Buhner in for the rest of the season as a coach. Um, or somebody along those lines, where it's not just him; it's going to be him and somebody else.
Him and the caterer, because the caterer's got to bring extra food because
Hey, Jeremy's a nice guy.
you have to dump the food
Jeremy's
table,
ready to go.
dump the food table,
Jeremy
make
the
the infield
caterer
cleaning done.
is ready to go, and he makes a mean empanada, man. But I think that I just don't want it to be. I don't want it to be something where everybody is, oh, we got to keep Dan Wilson because he's the history of the franchise and this and that. This franchise has no history. Its history is right now is of losing.
We had the kingdom, we blew it up. That was our history.
And yeah, and I want to see this club win. I want to see this club, do well. And you're not going to do that by just bringing, guys that were here in 2001 and 2002, and those guys in. It's just not, they got to be able to hold their own as managers and as
Well,
coaches.
did Dan have a press conference?
I'm sure he'll have one today if he didn't have one yesterday. I don't know. I haven't seen much about it. To be honest with you, I was really engrossed in the convention last night.
It
I
was
know he's
one.
the manager. I know his record is 0-0 as a manager. What is he going to really tell me? I don't know if he knows what he's got.
Name two things you're going to do differently than Scott Servers to get this team to play better.
I'm going to get rid of the damn Trident. um, so I don't know. And listen, let's face it. Dan's not. I mean, people are thinking, oh, he's going to be like, Now the hope is that he paid a lot of attention to Lou Piniella when
It was a wise thing to do if he was speaking. Pay attention.
right, which is, and I always think the catchers have a leg up on other position players
Yeah, they
as
know more.
managers because they see the game in a different way.
The
There's a lot
totality of the
going
game.
on.
Yeah.
Some of your greatest managers, Gil Hodges, not Gil Hodges. Who am I thinking of? I can't remember the name of the guy I'm thinking of right now. But there's a lot of people. Yogi Berra, while not one of your greatest managers, had a great understanding of the game because he looked at it at a different angle.
And
You know,
Wes Westrom was a
Wes
catcher.
Westbrook is,
Mike
is another
Sosha
guy.
was a catcher.
Yeah, Social was the catcher. I think
Tom
that people
Haller
who are
actually,
catchers,
the Giants catcher Tom Haller was a manager and a general manager for a while with the Giants.
yeah. So there's a number of of good things. Um,
And Bob
I
Melvin.
don't think that anybody's expecting Dan Wilson to go in there and start throwing over buffet tables or stuff like that. I don't
It's
think
okay
that.
to do that, but you got to have the infield pick it up. The infield's got to clean it up.
Well, you know what I think he can probably do immediately, Mike, is to get back to get these guys to stop swinging from their asses and make contact and emphasize bunting a little bit and emphasize some go back to the fundamentals a little bit. Hate to say that at this point in the season because they should have had that earlier in the season. They should have been,
Well, there's
but
nothing wrong with
always
beginning at the nothing wrong with beginning at the beginning. We got to hit the
you know what
ball.
I
We got to
found
get on
interesting.
base.
Yeah. I found it interesting that Mark McLemore was back here last week, and I always thought that he would be a guy that would make a good coach or a good manager.
Hmm.
Very intelligent guy, a good communicator, a guy who leads by example. Somebody that you can look at and say, this guy knew how to play the game at a certain level. He understood the game at a certain level.
One reason catchers are chosen repeatedly for manager positions is because they understand the load that's put on the pitching staff and how to keep them rested and how to keep them effective and to know when they're worn out. No, you can't bring him in. He needs another 3 days.
Yeah, but
I'd
it's
rather bring up the kid to do the start than overpitch your bullpen.
my favorite Dan Wilson story is kind of comical, but yet it's really uh, Dan is a very religious guy, very religious guy, and I know this, and he had gotten into a slump. I think it was in 2000, just as the Mariners started to make their first run toward um, respectability in a couple of years. They had made a couple of trades at the deadline, brought some guys in, and but Danny, for whatever reason, in the dog days of August, was mired in a horrible slump. Now Danny wasn't a power slugger or anything like
He
that,
wasn't a slugger, no.
but he was a good hitter, good contact guy, knew how to move the ball, knew how to put the ball in play. And but he couldn't catch a break. He couldn't hit the ball for love of money. So it was a Friday night, and we're doing a post game show, and I think Dan had gone 0 for 3 in the game, might even struck out 3 times. So I'm doing the post game show on this Friday night, and I said, listen, I think what we need to do for Dan is we need to like all collectively have a moment of silence and say a prayer if you believe in prayer for Dan. So, we kid around off, we do the prayer and, then we'll move on to the next caller and everybody gets a good,
Did
kind of,
you did you lead the prayer, "Oh Lord"?
yeah, Lord, please help Dan get a hit or something like that. Next day he goes 3 for 4. The day after that, he goes 4 for 4 with a home run. And I'm like, holy crap.
Somebody pray
Now
for me.
I'm not foolish enough to believe. It's kind of a tongue in cheek kind of. It's just hey. But
Baseball's
I
full of
remember it.
coincidence.
Because like 2 or 3 days later, he came up to me in the clubhouse and he said, "Thank you." He says, "I heard you were, or he might have even heard. I think his wife might have heard it. Um, and he said, I really appreciate it and da 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 and everything. I said, oh, Dan, the fans love you. They walk a mile for you. And he actually had a pretty good rest of the season. Now, I'm not saying that the prayers did anything. I'm not saying they didn't. I'm not saying they did. Um, but we could pray for Dan Wilson to have a good rest of the season as a manager.
Or as they say, Lord, no prayer is going to stop that bear.
Yeah, there's maybe maybe the Lord or Jesus may look down at that and say, "There's nothing I can do about this, man.
It's it's baseball. What can I do?
This is not going to work." But it was a cool thing, and it got around. I think actually somebody wrote a little thing in the paper about it, the prayer for Dan Wilson and everything. It was one of those fun things you do.
Sure.
When you do a post game show and the team is like, you don't want to just sit there and talk about how badly they suck right now.
They're mired in the confession booth.
Yeah, yeah. So you hear their sins, you try to straighten it out. But he was, he was appreciative of it, and he was because that was his language. It meant something to him.
Yeah.
So
Well, now compare that to the feeling you had with Kamala Harris speaking last night. Was it a speech that you thought resonated, that was important, that was in the right tune, the right phrasing, the right energy?
yeah, yeah. I think that
Because she's made a lot of speeches in her time, and she's done a lot of campaigning, but that was a speech she had to get right.
yeah, that was a speech for the ages. That was one that she probably got in her her room and sat in there with hopefully one of her best friends or a husband or her kids or the stepkids or something, and said, "What do you think?" And if somebody says, "Well, it sucks," you don't get offended. You go back and you rewrite it.
You fix it. That's right.
You fix it. Um, I thought she got her point across. I don't think she hit anybody over the head with it. I don't know that it was a speech that would make people say, throw up their hands and say, I can't stand Trump anymore. So I'm going to go vote for Kamala. Um, although, if Trump keeps becoming unhinged,
Yes, he has
you
not
know,
found
I
his
mean,
stride.
it's going to be
He
more
hasn't
of that.
he doesn't have any groove. He's striking out more than he and praying for a walk.
She was inspiring. You know, she made you feel like there was a certain, I thought, honesty about her speech.
We're on our way speech.
That yeah, that where I'm not going to sit here and lay everything out for you in one fell swoop because maybe I don't even know what I got yet. But it seemed that she what's Daddy's thanking us. Uh, it seemed like she gets it. You know, she gets the middle class.
Equal to the challenge.
Yeah, I think she gets the middle class. I think she gets, growing up in basically a single parent house, where you rely not just on your neighbors, but you rely on kind of an extended family.
And I didn't know until last night how much she moved as a child with her mother's job being a scientist, relocating many times into places all over the country.
Yeah, I didn't either. I was actually I thought she had been um, in Berkeley and in Oakland, in Oakland most of her life, but she was on, and I think there's people that like that because you have to move and get accustomed to people and change your tune a lot. So
Yep.
I thought it was a great speech. Well, no, I thought it was a really good speech. I don't know if I thought it was a great speech. I thought it was a really good speech. I think it laid out a vision which not many of Donald Trump's speeches lay out. But I also think that it seemed to me, Michael, and I'd really be interested in what you think about this. Many, 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 many years ago, I remember standing on a softball field with our good mutual friend and one of the people that I so respected in my life, Bruce Blevins, who was our
My
general manager at KKCY.
one of my
And I
mentors,
was having
definitely.
a conversation with him, and I asked him, I said, Bruce, I really respect you as a manager. I mean, you seem to be able to make things fit right, even if And I said, how do you do that? What's the secret of that? What's the secret sauce? And he said, find people that know what they're doing and surround yourself with them. And it's always that advice is always stuck in my head. And it's such simple advice, but it's advice that a lot of people don't always take. They
One of
want to
the
get
things he,
people because they're cronies or they golf with them or they do this or they do that.
one of the memorable things Bruce told me was the guy that you think is ignoring you is dealing with alligators that you can't see. You think that the morning show is being left behind, or the morning show is not being focused on, or the promos are wrong, or something is wrong, or that decision was wrong. And he said that guy is dealing with alligators, and you don't know about it. He's not ignoring you. He's concentrating on what's working on him.
And and it's very true. It's very, very true. And I thought about Bruce last night because Kamala Harris hits me as somebody who may not have all the answers, but it seems like she's open to find the people that have the answers.
She understands the question at least.
Right, right. Exactly. Exactly, Michael. She understands the question and she's open to hearing the answer. She's not like like Captain Brains there, who you could tell him 10 things 10 different ways, and he's still going to do what he's going to do anyway.
But who was going to do all along?
Yeah, he's just not. You're just not smarter than he is.
And that's why his response to problems seems so left field, because it was a response, but not exactly a response to the problem at hand, or the
Right.
person at hand, the situation at hand, the crisis.
Well, he's well. Trump is a guy that's used to leaning on his bullying and leaning on his bluster to uh, to win people over,
What are we going to do
which
about this
often
problem?
happens when you have money.
First thing we're going to do about the problem is you're going to shut up. And that's going to help nobody, but it's going to keep you quiet. And that's all I want. We're not going to solve. Every president is known to have, in the first 3 months, some sort of a challenge that they didn't expect, some sort of a surprise, some sort of a crisis, something that happens to them and their presidency that nobody saw coming. And for Trump, it was the COVID crisis. And he could not respond to it. And he never did respond to it. And it destroyed him. Every president gets that challenge, and every president has to respond. And it's only the egoist and the idiot that ignores the challenge and tries to bury the consequences of that ignorance.
Yeah, he took it personally. He took COVID as like it was all about him. Like, oh, this is going to mess up my chance at getting reelected. This is going to. It wasn't about how do I stop these people from dying. How do I, what do I do to rein this thing in?
There's never consideration. How do I cover this so I'm not hurt by it?
Right. The only thing he seemed to come up with was how do I hide this from the American people, and who do I blame for it? Because people who do that kind of thing always need somebody to blame.
I'll blame Anthony Fauci.
Blame anybody you can. You need somebody to blame, and you need somebody to validate you. You need a yes person,
As many as possible.
and he found the person to blame with Fauci, and he found his enabler with his buddy there, Dr. Ronnie, whatever his name was, his personal physician.
Shpopakia Rani.
So, and he had to have somebody to keep his lies straight, because you can't lie 30 times a day in public and probably another 50 and not have somebody
Keeping
to
track.
keep those lies straight.
It's not going to be easy, but we're going to do our best.
Well, you said that the hurricane. Well, no, let me show you, because I got the magic marker here, and
Here's
all I
where
got
it
to do
went.
is do this, and the hurricane went there.
You say it went to Tallahassee. I say it went to Mobile. Look at this. See?
I'm president, so what I say goes. So I
He's
I'm
lost his
impressed.
ability to dance. I think is what we're seeing.
Yeah, yeah. I just think
He's,
he's out of it.
yeah,
He should be let nowhere near the Oval Office,
right now
near the nuclear
they can't keep him
codes.
far enough. He'd be better off if he didn't campaign anymore. If he never said another word, he'd be better off than if he continues to fight and thrash around and take on water like he's doing.
He's taking on something, dude. That dude is getting It's getting
I think
huge, man.
Diet Coke. He's floundering in
It's
Diet
getting
Coke.
huge. I mean, I shouldn't be one to talk, but um, I don't know what's going on with him. But man,
I believe I will have another cheeseburger.
yeah, it was funny. Clinton had a line. What did Bill Clinton say? The other night he said, "Oh, I'm the president who had who probably holds the world record for eating McDonald's." And I was just sat there. I was thinking to myself, "Do you watch TV, man? see where Do you see where Trump where Trump lives half his life in the drive-through?" So yeah, So anyway, I was impressed with I mean, overall, there was no comparison between the two conventions.
That's what impressed me the most, Vinny. The production of the Democrats, the idea behind the events of every night, and the segue from one element to another. And the only guy that got cut was James Taylor. They didn't cut Pink. They didn't cut anybody else. It was James Taylor who did his rehearsal and never got on stage.
Yeah, why didn't at least they give him like the last song or something?
He went back on the road.
Yeah, it was a shame because I really wanted to see James Taylor. Um, but I thought that the people that needed to get exposed to America were exposed. They got a
Favorably.
little bit of a time in the spotlight.
And the families and the whole picture of the new vice president candidate and Kamala. It was always a favorable thing. There was never an embarrassing, weird, frozen moment between the wife and the husband or something like
Yeah,
Melania.
I thought that Gus, which is the son, uh, uh, 17 years old, I think he immediately became a hit.
Oh yeah, that's my dad.
That's my dad, and immediately became a, a liability for the Republicans, especially radio talk show hosts,
And
because
Coulter's,
in their
yeah,
infinite wisdom, they decided to jump on this kid,
not a good idea.
and it just shows you really what pieces of crap they were. They are.
They've got this theory that you just attack everything, attack, 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 never back down, double down, always attack.
Yeah, I mean, what was the gain? What was the idea of saying anything about the kid?
Just to demean the whole operation.
Yeah, do you think that was gonna? I mean, first of all, what kind of person says it? I mean, it was kind of obvious when you were looking at him that
Right.
there was something that wasn't 100% right. I didn't know what it was. Maybe he was nervous. I mean, you got a 17-year-old kid from Minneapolis. All of a sudden, he's thrust into the national prominence.
That's a fact.
You know, um, maybe I didn't know what it was, but as soon as I saw him, I said something's. His kid's really either got a case of the jitters, or maybe he's autistic, maybe he's antisocial. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but I never thought that it would be a great idea to go on the radio and say, "Look at this kid. He's got bugs in his head or something like that." But your friendly local right wing conservative hot talk. Um, wish I could kiss Rush Limbaugh's ass. Talk show hosts
Open the big
made
mouth and
sure that they denigrated this kid. That they made an example out of him. They made him the butt of a joke. And
revealing more about themselves and the direction that they're taking the rest of their program and their show and their support of here Trump. All
uh,
that crap goes into
yeah, it's
stark
just
contrast.
it, do we want? Is that are those the kind of people that we want running the country? Are those the kind of people that we want? Um,
Is that the kind of person you want on the air every midday in Wenatchee?
like delivering the news, entertaining you. Is that who you want? Is that what we is that what the conservative movement is about? Is about making fun of somebody who has a problem?
Hate, distrust, and more hate.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get the idea that somebody gets pleasure out of looking. Now, if you're 6 years old and you're in the schoolyard,
Same thing.
maybe I get it. Kids are terrible. Kids are horrible. Some of them, sometimes they're the worst people on earth. But when you make money by having a radio show or something, you're supposed to be a community leader. You're supposed to be, even if politically you don't agree with me. Aren't you supposed to be like somebody who sets some kind of example?
This spewing of hate brought to you by Bob's Mufflers. Bob Mufflers open today. They'll give you a good deal. Bob will screw you if he can, but if you keep your eye on him, he'll probably do the muffler right. He'll probably install it and be okay. And he'll check your shocks. See you, Bob's Mufflers. I endorse this.
Yeah, I don't understand, or I just don't get why somebody who would be intelligent enough to have a program director of some radio station hand them over a talk show 3 hours a day on a fairly big radio station, from what I understand.
Giving the people what they want.
Is that what it takes? Is that where we are in our society today? Because I don't want any part of that, to be honest with you. If that's what it is, if that's what you have to do to make money in this business, to be recognized, uh, to be something in this business, I don't, I don't, because I've been that kid.
I'm going
I
to
know
be
what
so
that
big
kid
and
feels like.
I'm going to be so big and so famous. They're going to carry my show in places like Spokane. I know that seems outrageous, but that's what I'm talking. That's the kind of reach that I'm going to have with this kind of talk, hate talk.
What a shame. What a shame that that's what the Republicans believe is what's right, and they have the absolute nerve to call themselves children of God. I wonder if these people ever even look at the Bible, Michael? Do you
It's
think
not
they
this.
ever pick it up and read it?
It's not the God you were thinking of. It's a God, not the God. But you're going to feel increasingly comfortable with the reach and the influence of our God, the just a God. You'll see. You'll see how it all comes around.
I just how can you be like that? I could see it if you're on it, for an act or something like that,
And
or
it comes naturally. It wasn't just one talk show host or one Ann Coulter. There was a number of people who felt that that was the way to go. That was the direction to take. That was
yeah,
the way to hit back. That's the way to get Trump reelected.
it's worse than a shock jock because most of the shock jocks when their shift's over, they go home, they get in their car, and they pull out a book and they read. I mean, I just I fear for the republic with these clowns around. I hope that his parents, and they seem like the kind of people who were, I hope that they were able to kind of explain it to him.
You know, if Walls was a teacher for all those years, he's seen all that.
Yeah,
He knows what happens in the lunchroom. He knows what happens on the playground. He knows how kids pick on each other. He's seen all that, and so has his kid.
yeah. I'm
But you
sure
don't
that the
usually
kid
you don't
gets to the
usually take
schoolyard.
you don't usually take the Republican bully on the playground at the age of 10 and turn him into a talk show host. But if you do, these are the results you can expect to get.
It's just so. I mean, I never wanted to crap in a box and send it to somebody so bad as I wanted to do it to that idiot, man. I just want, you know, and sit across the street from his house with a camera when he opens the box. I just, we just can't we be better than that?
If you start the week by hating people who have cats and end the week by hating the people who have kids, that's pretty much the Republican message. We don't like you. We don't like your family. We don't like your children. We don't like your pets. Vote for us.
Boy, is it amazing? It's absolutely. It's just so sad, Michael. And I hope maybe I'm wrong. I usually am on these kinds of things because I still have this sense of feeling inside that at some point we're going to become a kinder, gentler society.
Well, that's the direction we've been urged to go in throughout this whole week. I think it's going to the results of this election are going to become more plain as we get closer to election day. I think the space, the distance between the two candidates will grow increasingly impressive. And I don't think the Republicans have a sensible answer to anything that's happened this week. They don't have an answer for it. They can't counter with anything that they've been doing. They're going to go right back to where they were. They're going to go right back to the old tricks and the old memes. And they're going to tread out J.D. Vance, or else they're going to shut him down completely so that he has no influence on the outcome. Let Donald take care of this. Let Trump work the crowd. JD, you weren't exactly the guy we thought you were. Don's got it the rest of the way.
Yeah. How do we? Is there anything we can do about it? I mean, is there anything? I mean, sometimes I go back to that Shirley Temple movie where she's they make her the minister of happiness or whatever it is, and she's she dances and I'm not naive enough to think that that's the answer, but is there some way to instill civility in people, or have we just lost that part of us?
I think some of us are more than willing to have left it behind, and they're going to pay dearly for that decision and regret that part of themselves and that history of America where we went over the edge and went for the big lie and followed a demagogue and fell in love with a hateful man and boosted his ego at the risk of our own and did it willingly, thinking that we were doing the right thing, knowing that it wasn't right. And that's where we are
What a
today.
shame.
That's where we are in the shakedown cruise to 2024.
Yeah, what a shame. Because and listen, we've talked about this before. Sometimes I feel partially responsible for it because we let people get away with this stuff on sports radio, thinking, ha ha ha, ha, funny. It's some idiot fan that's in the stands and he yells at people and yeah, 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 yeah. But when I saw it go from sports radio
To
to the
talk radio.
general discourse in society, it was I had like a oh my god, what's happened here moment.
Well, that's
You
why
know,
the last sports radio I listened to, which was quite a while ago here in L.A., it was three people in a room yelling, and what they were yelling about was not exactly clear. But I was gone, and I never went back, and I
Yeah,
didn't miss anything. I didn't miss a thing.
yeah. Many stations don't take phone calls anymore. Maybe they read some text at the end of the show or the end of the hour, or they have some segment or something like that. But so many of the shows that I listen, and I don't listen to sports talk radio that much anymore. But many of the shows that I listen to don't take any callers. It's just, two or three guys in a room screaming at each other.
If possible, can we all scream? Bobby, you're talking. Can you please scream?
Yeah. I just wonder if we're, not that we're responsible, but did we open a door, where we took this model of sports talk and moved it over to the general, because in sports, if you were sitting behind somebody and you called them a name or something like that, it was acceptable. If you hollered at somebody that was out on the field and called them a bum, hey, you paid your money, right? Part of the deal is you get to go there and scream at somebody. Just like part of the deal is you don't have to take your stuff up to the garbage can.
You can just throw
You
it
can
right
just
where you
leave it
sit.
there. Somebody else will come along and sweep it up. It was one of the great luxuries of sports. You didn't have to clean up after yourself.
Peanut shells everywhere.
That's what I'm paying my. That's why I pay $1.50 a bag for peanuts, because somebody's going to come along and sweep them up.
Plus, if you ever had peanuts on the couch, not a good thing. No good.
Um, I didn't have peanuts. I had ginger once on the couch, but that's a whole different thing.
She still talks about it.
Yes, I'm sure she does. I love that everybody seemed to come up. All the speakers at the convention seemed to come up with some kind of line about a couch. It really made them think. But everybody seemed to have some kind of line. Even Hillary. Little did she know that Bill probably uses the same couch.
Well, they had somebody backstage going, "Have you got your couch joke? Let me hear it. I got a couple here that no one's used yet. Take one of these."
Where's Bruce Valanche when we need him, right?
He's working backstage. You can't miss him. You can't miss
Whatever
him.
happened to that dude? Did he pass away?
I think so. He finally wrote one too many one-liners. He doesn't do the Academy Awards anymore.
No, I haven't seen him in years. He was, for people that don't know, he was the kind of heavy set guy, short guy,
Shocker
uh,
hair.
with just a big mop head of hair who just used to write the Academy Awards, right? Or the Academy Awards,
Yeah.
and wrote, all the comedy stuff for that, and put, great lines into everybody's hand to, to use. But I haven't seen him in a few years. Not that I watched the show all that much, but he was a fixture on those shows and on the
Yeah.
late night talk shows
Absolutely.
for many years. But I guess he went the way of Monty Rock the Third.
He couldn't dance like Monty. Not that he didn't try occasionally, but he did not have Monty's moves.
See,
The
that's what we
blue
don't have anymore,
Bruce
Michael.
Bruce
That's kind of a shame. We don't have those recurring characters.
like Gypsy Boots.
Gypsy Boots and Mrs. Miller and uh you know who is this? There's somebody else I'm thinking of. But all the late night talk shows had Larry Bud Melman,
Oh yeah.
who used to come out and do different things, but they were funny.
All he had to
They
do
were
was just stand there.
Yeah, all they had to do was stand there, or in Letterman's case, he would send him out, or Steve Allen's case too, would send him out to the sidewalk with a fire extinguisher or something like that, and or a note on the back that said "kick me,"
with the pet llama.
yeah, or something, just something that was outrageous. But I guess we're too highbrow for that now.
We have Ann Coulter instead.
You have, right? Is she still Is she still on the air? I mean, I haven't seen her in.
Well, she was one of the GOP commentators who got onto Gus Walls.
Oh, was she?
Yes. And had to take down her post. Hateful as it was. She'll come up with something more hateful today and not take it down.
Yeah, I'm just when you think you maybe that things might change, just when you think that maybe we shouldn't go there.
Well, what can they do? They have no plan B. And what do you think of that? I hate that shit. And what do you think of the speech? I hated it. What do you think of the Mariners' choice with Dan Wilson? I hate that choice. What do you think of the weather? I hate this weather. What about lunch? You ready for lunch? I'll eat it, but I hate it.
Yeah, but bring it up anyway.
Yeah.
Grab me an extra pudding.
You like pudding? I hate it. Yeah, I need two.
Yeah, give me two of them. They got tapioca pudding down there. I like the way that feels in
My tapioca taster.
my tapioca taster. Well, Mikey, guess where your Giants are this weekend?
They're coming to say hello there.
They're stopping by for a 3-game visit. That
You're
ought
gonna
to be
see.
lots of fun.
You're gonna see Blake Snell. You're gonna see Robbie Ray. You're gonna see our best pitchers, and we're in a bit of a mood. So look out because we lost one game to Chicago that we shouldn't have lost to the White Sox.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see Robbie Ray.
He can pitch.
He can pitch when he's on. When he's on, he's on.
Remember, he came back from surgery, and so did Blake Snell. And
Right.
my God, I don't know who did the surgery, but if you have a pitcher who needs to be cut, make sure you go to this guy. He put him back right.
Is well, he used to be Dr. Parks, right? James Parks.
He was the one and only. He was the
Down
best.
in LA, he was the guy that everybody went to. Um, I know, oddly enough, that many guys were going to Dr. Scott Simon,
Sean and
the former member Sean Anna was fixing up a lot of athletes. I think he actually, for a while, was the team orthopedist for UCLA.
That's where he performs his surgeries, right? UCLA Medical Center.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but I think he was doing a lot of their athletic department stuff, orthopedic stuff. But
So was he a Met
I,
fan or a Yankee fan?
I don't know. I don't know. I think he was a fan of getting stoned, to be honest with you.
It happens. After a day of wearing gold lame, you got to relax.
Yeah, that stuff has got to be. I mean, I can't imagine if that stuff is comfortable in the summer.
It doesn't breathe. It does not breathe.
It doesn't look like a material that would say, "Oh yeah, wear this for 3 or 4 hours out there while you."
And you tuck your gold lame into your Cuban boots, and you got an outfit. But man, what a place to work.
Ew, must yeah, I can't imagine it's excuse me, that it's very good. And then we're also a week away from the calling all the players up from the minor leagues.
The Giants have already done that.
You get well, like you
Oh
can only
boy.
have 29, right? What is the roster now? 27 or 29?
There's the 40 and the 30, or 40 and the
Well, it used
28.
to be the 25 and then the 40. But then they changed it a couple of years ago to like the 27 or 28. They added 2 or 3 players. But I have to go back and brush up on my how many players and stuff like that you're allowed. Just like when they got rid of the disabled list. I mean, did any disabled people call them up and tell them to do that?
No calls.
I don't know. I used to like I don't like the IR. It sounds like football. I like the disabled list.
We got the
They
40
should
and
be.
the active. How many people on the active? Less than 40.
Yeah, because it was 25 and then 40 on the roster, and then anybody over that was subject to the Rule 5 draft, right?
And like most teams, they're carrying guys on their 40 that are can't play because of their injuries or recovery or
Right. If
rehabilitation.
you want to hang on to somebody without
Got
the
to keep
Rule
them on the
Five draft,
40.
you have to have them on that roster. Yeah, so it will be it'll be interesting to see. The rivalry between the Giants and the Mariners goes back so many years.
You'll just have to pretend we're the San Diego Padres, your arch rivals.
Yeah, I don't. I think we see them um, early on too. It's so now that they've changed the schedule where everybody's got to play everybody. It's I get it's definitely figuring out who you have left is a little bit. Used to be you just had the National League East played the American League East, and next year it switched over to the Central and Central and all that. But now it's
If if you see the game tonight, Vinny, you're going to see the young pitcher that we brought up recently called Adrian Birdsong. You're going to love this kid.
yeah. Tell me a little bit about him.
He came out of nowhere. I know he was on the Watch This Kid list,
Yeah,
and they brought him up and gave him a shot. And Birdsong, we pitching tonight. He's 3-3 with a 5 ERA. He's only 20, but
really.
he's had great success and had a shot. And you guys are going with Castillo.
Yeah, who's struggled lately? He was nails earlier in the year, and then all of a sudden, 3 or 4 starts ago,
And
he
apparently
just
they're going to play the game in Seattle, but that could change. If Dan Wilson wants to play it somewhere else, we'll go wherever he wants.
well, they told
We'll
him
meet
if you
when.
want to take it up to Everett,
Let's go.
let's go. Although tonight is now I don't know how this is going to work because it's pretty foggy and rainy out right now. But I
Yeah,
think tonight is sing along fireworks night.
what song are you singing along with?
Well, they come up with a bunch of songs
Row,
that
row, row your
they
boat.
figure people know the words to, and they play them while the fireworks are popping, so you can't hear
Proud
yourself
Mary.
sing. But
It's just
you look around and everybody else is moving their lips, so you just move your lips. You could be singing the Spokane national anthem.
they don't have a national anthem, do they?
Yes,
Is it brand new? Is it Purple Rain or something like that? Did they just take a song that
fairly
was on the
new,
charts?
fairly new. Oh, being as you mentioned Purple Rain, may I just add that I think that the bylaws of the Democratic Party should be changed to say that whoever that DJ was that they brought in,
DJ Cassidy.
DJ Cassidy, he's got the job, man.
That's it.
He's got the job. He rocked that place.
Is he going to warm up the axe when Kamala goes on the road?
I hope we see him all the time. I just I don't know who came up with the idea of doing a state, some artist from that state or song that had, but I thought it was brilliant.
Oh yeah, good idea. Everybody want to know what's my state?
And I guess the I think I read somewhere that the playlist was like number one on Spotify or something like that.
Really?
That like everybody wanted the playlist. That was like the hottest
I can't remember what Bruce song was. It Born in the USA that they
one in
used?
the USA. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then they did Empire State of Mind
Billy Joel
for
from New
no
York.
no no uh, Jay Z and Alicia Keys. Billy Joel's too old for.
Wrong demo. Wrong demo. Thank you.
No, it was impressive too. Going back to the convention, a couple of more thoughts on the convention. I was really impressed with Alexandra with AOC or
Yeah, she knew what to say.
Alexandra Ocasio Cortez.
She played the
I just
game.
yeah, really impressed with her. I mean, for all the bad rap that she gets
From who? Consider the
from the
source.
Republicans and even
Of
some
course
of the
they get it.
Democrats, because she's part of the squad, she just seems to handle herself in a different way
Yeah.
than most of the other members of the squad. Who,
Well,
incidentally, I think that what three out of six of them were voted out,
yeah.
lost their primaries. Yeah, I just thought that she, I don't know if she's got like a PR firm working with her or what.
I think she's just bright.
Yeah, but she's a star. I mean, if she moves over a little bit more, I don't want to say moves over to be mainstream. That's not what I'm saying, but learns how to play a little bit of that game,
Play the game.
she could. I could see her running for governor or
Senator.
mayor, senator, and doing well.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I think she's. Yeah, I was impressed. I saw her speak a couple of times. I saw her on Colbert last night or the night before, I forget. And yeah, I just thought that she really she's matured into the job.
She's had some experience.
Experience is a good thing, probably in Congress. I don't know. I wonder sometimes. Is it a good thing?
You don't know how much experience you can handle. How much can I can't take much more of this experience.
It's the truth, though, man.
Yeah. Ask Dan Wilson. He's probably already tired of the job.
Dan's sitting there trying to figure out how to fill out the lineup card right now.
Who is going to lead off?
I forget if I forget who used to. I think Johnny Mack used to do the lineup card for Lou. Um,
Lou must have had input.
no, but I mean, just write the lineup card out. Lou always
Oh,
had
I
it.
see.
I mean, Lou would put it on a piece of paper, and
I
then
see. Yeah.
Johnny Mack would fill out the official. And he had because he had really, again, I think it was Johnny Mack. He had just calligraphic
Penmanship.
handwriting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, you could see it. It just looked real classy. Well, I think you know what? I think Dan. I wish him a lot of luck, man. He's a good guy. I respect him immensely. I would love it if this worked.
Well, the Giants are in the mood, so it could go any way. I can't predict what's going to happen. Because if you got a 500 ball club, what's the point of predicting what's going to happen? You can see what's going to happen. They're going to win one, they're going to lose one.
Pretty much so, yeah. Unless you're the Mariners, in which case you get a hold of the Mets and you beat them all three.
Get a hold of the Mets. Grab the Mets by the neck as they come down at the train station.
Oh my God! It just.
We met him at the airport and we never let go.
I would have made him walk to the next stop. I think Danny was on that bus. That time that Pinella took the bus in spring training and stopped it, and made all the players get out and watch a little league game. I think Danny might have been on that bus. So who knows?
What do you think they learned from that? What was the point? What baseball looks like when you're 10.
I don't think
This is what fun looks like when you're a kid.
I don't think Lou was trying to teach him anything necessarily.
Just watch it. You tell me what you learned.
Yeah, I don't know that Lou was trying to, if there was one particular lesson that he was trying to teach them. I think he was trying to teach them or trying to, uh, because if you're a professional baseball player, what are you going to learn from watching a little league game? But
Well, if that shortstop gets his keistered out, he's going to be a better player.
yeah, but I do remember that they played. I think that was the '95 season, and so I think that
There was
was
some
that
mojo in that
'94,
game.
'95. So maybe they did learn something.
Maybe they were inspired.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. I hope that. Well, I wish Danny a lot of luck, man. Like I said, he's a good guy, and it'll be fun hearing him do the pre and the post game show. And I he's he deserves to catch a break here. He's stepping into a really tough situation.
Well, all I can tell the Giants is go. You got them right where you want them. Show me something.
Yeah, stop swinging at bad pitches.
That's a good start, Ben.
Can
As
you
simple
do
as that
that?
sounds. Ted
Can
Williams
you
never
do
did
that?
it.
Can you stop swinging?
Barry Bonds
Can you
never did it.
figure
Barry
out
Bonds.
that every pitcher in the league is starting you off with outside and low or inside and low?
Because you keep swinging at it.
And as soon as you offer at it, they're not getting away from that. They know they got you.
And the reason you're not hitting it is that ball is not going to be hit. It's inside and low. It's a ball.
It's not meant to be hit. It's meant to set you up for something else.
Is the game on TV tonight?
Um, it is, but many people won't see it because the Mariners charge. I think it's $25 a month to watch Root Sports Plus, and so many people here in the Pacific Northwest has decided
I'll pass. Right.
I'll pass. I'll listen to it on the radio. So, and I
I'll
hate
watch
to
it
say
on
it.
game day on MLB.
Yeah, see, you can see it. I can't. I can't. I don't have. I mean, I have MLB. Well, I have the
The
pack.
recur
The
the
package
recur.
from
Uh,
T-Mobile, but they won't. You can't watch in market games,
right.
unfortunately.
Wisdom of the ages.
There's a couple of ways around it. I've never been compelled to investigate it. I think you could log into some site. There's a bunch of different pirate sites.
Spilpakia TV covers it. Not all the games because they forget. They don't have the schedule.
Well,
instead,
no, Michael. The SBC, which is short for CBS, did an interesting thing. I don't know if you heard about this rights deal that they came up with.
they have a deal.
Yeah, they came up with a deal. They have a deal for football, NFL. They have a deal for Major League Baseball, ice hockey, and basketball.
Curling. Oh,
No, basketball. They have all four major sports, and they paid, I think it was less than $1 million a year for them all together.
did they show the games at the same time, like a four on a screen?
No, and the Slovakians were pretty smart, but the Prime Minister of Entertainment, Slovakia, said anybody can show the game. What we're going to do is we're going to show the stadiums while the games aren't being played.
Stroke of genius.
So they show all of the major league, when the vacuum cleaners and the power brushes are going at night. You get that.
For Slovakians, that's fascinating. They love that stuff.
So they have a 20-hour a day deal.
Did they show sweeping up the seeds in the dugout?
You can, yeah. As a matter of fact, you can order the seeds from the dugout floor at the
Collectors.
SS.
You shouldn't eat them, but they're collector's items. But I wouldn't eat them, folks. Slovakia,
Right.
you do what you want.
What do they call it? The Slovakia Union Shopping Channel. Susk.
They should have done something so they could call it Husk, but that's only me. Vinnie, have a great weekend. What are you driving, by the way?
Michael, funny you should ask. I'm driving the Volkswagen Atlas. It's not the cross sport, but it's the hyped up. It's a really beautiful Volkswagen Peak Edition. Atlas Peak Edition.
Oh, Atlas Peak.
So it's the large SUV, the Atlas SUV, with better ground clearance, more comfortable seats, 3 rows, a little bit more power.
Does it have sunflower seeds, maybe?
Sunflower seeds. Slovakia.
Oop, you're frozen up, Ben. There you are. I see your face.
There we go. Honey, I'll see you on
I can't hear you, Ben.
See you to all you out there, too. See you on there. Peace, love, Manischewitz, baby. And this is where Mikey says, what a wine. Have a good one, folks.